Welcome back, legends. I hope you're all amazing. We're checking out Firmware 20 Beta for the AxeFX 3 today. A few really cool new features. There is an updated and improved speaker drive algorithm. There's a new block called Dynamic Distortion, which I like to think of as like a saturation or character block. And the way switching is done in blocks has changed a little bit. And we'll start there because you can now put 2 amps in series, like this USA lead mid-gain and the band commander, and just switch between them with no pops or clicks, like so. That makes setting up dual amp presets that little bit easier. Let's go over to this VibraVerb preset to get started with the speaker drive parameter. It now defaults to 2, and I've got everything except for the basic controls that you can see here at stock settings at the moment. The cab I'm using is actually a York Audio Deluxe Reverb cab, and I've got the small hall reverb on here. Let's go to the speaker tab, and rather than have the impedance curve as a 5153, let's have it as a 1x15 vibrato verb. That might seem a little bit more authentic. And what I'm going to do is just play with this speaker drive parameter. You'll hear it at the stock settings, you'll hear it at 0, and then I like it at around 3 or 4 on this, but I'll turn it up past there so you can really hear the effect it has on the core tone. I even like it on chunky stuff, just using it a little less. I'll start with the speaker drive on 0 on this preset, and then I'll bring it up to 2. I just like it at 2. That's the default setting as well, which I think is a pretty good choice. So let's have a listen to what it does. It's at 0 at the moment. I'll type in 2, but I won't hit enter just yet in AxeEdit. It really does work as just that little bit of pixie dust on everything else. It's so satisfying to listen to and to play with. Another analogy somebody on the forum used, and I love this one, it's like a little dab of Vegemite behind your ears. Just makes everything that little bit better. Alrighty, dynamic distortion. Think about this as kind of like a saturation block, and you're probably going to find if you drop it in at the stock settings after an amp or cab, you're either going to have a little bit too much crust or not enough. So I find you really have to play around with the drive control on this to just find that sweet spot. I've actually turned it down just a little bit here on this flat setting, but we'll have a listen to what it does. As the name of this scene suggests, it's just going to add a little bit of crust. And this is the sort of thing you would do when you're mixing guitars, just to give them a little bit of extra character. On its own, it's going to add, you know, like I said, crust. So it's going to sound a bit nastier. You may not like it because you're going to hear the smoother tone that I've got first. But this is the sort of thing that puts like the finishing touches on a mixed guitar tone. It's really, really cool. The dynamic mid boost is probably my favorite stock type in here. I'll let you hear it on this USA lead mid gain, and I'll also switch over to the Atomica high for a kind of more old school 80s thing. Let's hear it. Just adding a little bit of weight, a little bit of girth, and a little bit of character in there, which are always good things on guitar tones. I have been really enjoying this setup here, where I've been running the dynamic mid boost with the drive cranked right up and the level brought down in parallel. I've got it set on a soft clip shape on here. And basically this just adds nastiness in parallel. It's a really cool way to take your kind of core guitar tone and make it really, really sit where guitars sit in a mix without, doing EQ or anything like that. So I'll just let you hear this. It may be super offensive and you may not really like the way it sounds, but I can hear this working really, really well in a mix, like the other settings that I mentioned earlier. I'd almost advocate adding a mix control to this block so you didn't have to run that in parallel. There's a bunch of other types in here like dynamic presence and depth boosts and cuts. I would really recommend you play around with this. You can run in stereo if you want to put it right at the end of your chain as well. And yeah, I'm kind of keen to see what people do with this particular block and what tips and tricks pop up. If there's any you've tried, let me know in the comments because I want to try them out. I've really been enjoying this block and everything else in this beta firmware. As always, if you want to support what I do here on YouTube, there's some links to do that in the video description. Have a great day, and I'll see you all next time. Cheers for watching.